4, and we're going to discuss about project integration management. These are the topics that we're going to discuss in this chapter. Why we need integration, why we need to manage go for integration, and what are the different processes are there. Develop project charter, develop project management plan, direct and manage project work, monitor and control project work, perform integrated change control, and close project work. So these are basically the process that we'll be discussing, throughout this chapter. And we'll tell you develop project charter is like by looking itself, we can say it's the initiating process group, right? Develop project management plan is the planning, direct and manage project work is part of execution. Monitor and control project work and perform integrated change control. These are belong from monitoring and controlling these two, and this close is from the closing process group. So these are basically the processes are there which belong from which process groups. Now, why do we call as integration? If you see this processes, by the way, and if you can see, this is part of initiation, this is planning, this is execution, this is monitoring and controlling, and this is closing. Means it has a process from all the process groups. Okay, it has a process from all the process groups. And if you see other, the knowledge area, you find a few processes from planning, but it doesn't have initiating. Maybe I can show you this tabular document. So if you see this scope management, it doesn't have in the initiation, doesn't have in the execution, doesn't have in closing. So this is one of the, the knowledge area which basically has a process from all the areas where you do some activities. So there's some integration. You do something in each and every, the process group. So that's one of the reason is also, the called as integration. But most important, it has a project management plan. Develop project management plan is actually, takes the input from other knowledge area, the management plan knowledge areas. For example, it needs a plan scope management. Whatever the document that you create from the plan scope management, that document should be there. And as part of the, this project management plan, schedule management plan, cost management plan, quality management plan. So whatever the, the document that you create in other knowledge areas, they are also input to this develop project management plan. And basically it's because these documents are also called as a subsidiary document, means it's related to the scope or type. These are called as a subsidiary document as a bigger picture of the project management plan. Okay. So that's, one of the reasons that we call as integration. Okay. So it's basically integration of subsidiary project management plan, output from other knowledge area, scope, time, cost, and what we are discussing. And what we do, we combine all those things, unify and coordinate the various process and project management activities. Yes, because, during, if you see this, we have a the processes in every process group. So, this, whatever you create in the planning, to go in the execution, according to the plan, you work on that and do the activities. List of the process in the integration management. We have discussed about a develop project charter belong from initiating, this is from planning, this is from execution, this is monitoring and controlling, and this is closing. This is how this processes are, distributed into the different process group and knowledge areas. Let's talk about the develop project charter. First process. This is the first process from the PMP guide, from the, our training, and where, what basically it needs, see, this is a process, it needs some input, you're going to apply some tools, and then you have some output. That's why if you see this diagram, these are basically the input is needed for this project charter, and these are tools and techniques that you will apply, and that's the final, you will have an output. For example, now, project charter is first of all is a first official document, which basically the project sponsor or business sponsor give it to the project manager to start the project. Until the project manager does not receive the project charter, he can't start the project. He can't work on resource onboarding, collecting requirement, anything. That's the first document. And in the exam, they will ask you at least 1 or 2 questions from this concept itself. If you remember that project charter authorizes the project manager to start the project. If you remember this word itself, you are able to answer 1 or 2 questions by they will give you some scenario by twisting something, but you need to try to find, is this a project manager have received a project charter or not? Okay, if it has received, he can start a project. Okay, very important, like one or two questions from this overall PMP certification questions. And the input that you need is a project statement of work and a business case where you are going to develop it, and you're going to have what are the activities, means how on a high level they are looking it to do it, any agreements, some sort of that, and sometime why agreement is needed. Sometimes some of the project you think about give it to some other vendors, or or within a some of the confidential information are there. So some agreement you have it from other party, so you have those things document and give it to the the project manager when you work on building a project charter. Enterprise environmental factors, very important. Organization process. These are the two the input. You'll find it most of the planning process. Most of the planning process you'll find it, and this enterprise environmental factor is nothing but the factors which are not under the project control. The factor that can affect the project which is not under the project control, that's called as enterprise environmental factors. When I say that not under the project controls, even though something within an organization, if any factors is affecting, it is not in the project control, that's become also enterprise. It is not something outside organization. It can be both outside organization, inside organization, but outside a project. Okay, and organization process. For example, if you're doing construction project, right? This municipality, this regulations and all those things are there. You need to take into consideration when you're building such project. Otherwise, your project can can delay, or some problem can happen. Okay, so that comes in the enterprise environmental factors. And organization process of it. Within a organization, they have some repository, some lesson learned, some asset will be there which you can use it for as for a template or guidelines, which you can use it for building this project chart or project management plan. So it is something some document, lesson learned, policy, guidelines within organization for doing a project. So that needs to be also considered when you're starting a project. So these are the input that you need it as part of that, and the tools and technique will when you have this data, what you're going to do? You'll have a meeting, right? You'll have a meeting and discuss about it. You take a subject matter expert opinion, and you have a facilitation technique. Is nothing but just facilitate and try to understand the requirement. It's just some sort of meeting, and the output will have the project charter. So finally, that project charter will be ready, and that project charter you hand over, the business sponsor hand over to the project manager. And this developing a project charter is not responsibility of a project manager. It is a responsibility of a project sponsor, business sponsor, or the user for which you are going to do the projects. Okay, that's their responsibility. Okay, so this activity, this is one of the activities which is basically done by I can say the project sponsor or business sponsor. Okay, so they do this activity and then have a final project charter ready. And as soon as they hand over this thing to the project manager, and that is where the work started. I will give you one of the documents, simple document, which can help you to how the project charter look like it. Maybe, okay, so it's a very big doc. Okay. So this is one of them. Like if you see this on a high level, that's what will be the project name, who will be the sponsor, who can be the project manager, and from which organization unit it belongs. So what is the process? And this is one template. It's just not like every project charter should follow same template. It's just like every organization, they have their own documents, some template guidelines. But these are the the rough information should be there in the project charter to consider as a project charter. Okay, from which organization belong, what are the process, when you started, expected start date and expected end date. When you have this information, you know that okay, this is a project, right? Some way it has to close it. What is the expected saving you'll get it? How much cost you're going to? Because when you're going for a project, you have to justify why you are going for this project. How much saving you can do it. So and that's where you'll go and saving you can calculate in the this money or human resources.
What is
Different ways to calculate.
Black belts? What is the green belts and black belts?
The certifications are there, right? So we have this Sigma certificate. So who are the people who have a green belt assigned, who have a black belt assigned? So that who are those people are there?
This project?
Means when you're
how does it
see this is not something. So this is like who are a PMP certified professional. I can say Arvind is a so I can mention. So this is on high level, and this is not something. This should be there in the project charter. This information.
I understood. Six Sigma basically. They will take into consideration how to reduce the cost, right? They do the cost savings to the organization, right? So how does it? How they will integrate with the project plan? Their project managers take their opinion, or they are the final authority to do it. How does it system works?
No. So when you're creating a project charter, you'll have to hand over some person, right? So this is then who are green belt assigned, who have that credential where I'm assigning, so in there's some designation, some classifications are there, right? So who are the people are putting there? So in my project charter, I don't mention it. Maybe I will just mention who are PMP certified professional. So means who will going to do this project. So I just who have minimum 10 years of experience. So it is just like for on a high level, I've taken this one of the template document who have this green belt, the certification, the credential. Sundar Mishra have a green belt certification, so he will be working on that. Or black, Adik Chua, so he will be the black belt assigned on this. So it's just like some credential you mentioned. Who will be PMP certified professional? Somebody else will be there. Okay.
Yeah.
Most important, that is like what is the problem? What is the issues? What is the actual problem is there? And what is the purpose of the project? What is the business case? What's the goal and metrics that you want to achieve from out of this thing? And this is one of the very high level, very I can say much detail of the project charter. And sometimes in the real world, they just they don't give you much about the goal metrics, and they will give you the problem and issue or purpose of the project. Or this is I think 3 cases normally they provide it. But they have to, as a best practices, they are expecting what is the goal and metrics, and expected deliverables. They are looking at what are the things they are looking out of this. Within the scope, what can be there? What out of the scope, what will be there? What will be the tentative schedule? When I say the tentative schedule, this is not something you get out of from project management plan. Then high level, they're saying they're expecting this project needs to be started from the first week of May or May, and this needs to be completed within 1 year because they have budget for only 1 year. So on a high level, they're giving this thing, but sometimes they don't have this information like when they have this defined phase or analysis phase needs to be completed. If they can give you this data, that's good. When they are giving some guideline, okay, these baselines are there, you have to go ahead with that. But once you go through with the project management plan, when you're working on it, collecting a requirement, this thing can be changed. But like a tentative schedule. And okay, so just a second. Okay, so on the project team, and if they have this project team information, like in the business sponsor who will be there, but they don't have much information on those what we can say people working technically or functionally, that information will not be available. So whatever the information they have available within their business sponsor, they can give you. And on high level, it's like just given on high level, yeah, per hour. So this is like a high level. This this is rough data. You don't consider this will be like a real data. So it's just a rough data. I'm trying to show you that most of the time like what are the information normally they're trying to have it in the project charter. And this is one of the detail. I will give you in the real world actually what type of a template they will create normally. I will show you that. Okay, so this is like this is on a bigger concept. What is the risk will be there, constraints, what assumptions they are assuming out of this, and this is like this document will be there. And normally, if you see smaller, this is like a mini charter, okay, which okay, so just a second. This is all like on a high level. They give you this project charter. Project sponsor, whole background, business needs and business benefit, that is very important. On the scope, in and out scope, very important. What are the deliverables they are expecting out of this and what is the due date? So this is like on a mini project charter. And so this document you can circulate to the project team, because if you receive this document, and you can give it to the project team also, because there is no sensitive information or budgetary informations are there. So you can share it, but other document, maybe project manager keep it with him, and maybe he can extract some information and create some small document and share to the project team, because the project team should also aware about it, what is in the scope, what is in out of scope. So all those information should be available to them also. So that's why it's like this project mini charter is there. Now regarding this okay. So we talk about like this will be an output of the project, this develop project charter process. Develop project charter, if you remember, this is one of the things we discussed about. In what are the areas the project can come in the picture? When the project comes, project charter you need to develop it. So that's what I'm discussing about. Project charters are created so that a project can answer and satisfy one of the following. What are the things? Like the market demand. Whenever there is a market demand, you have a new project. When you have a new project, you're going to create a project charter. Business needs, and some new, you have already e-commerce website and looking for to go for iOS and Android app, because that's a business need so maybe you'll work on one project and you build a project charter. That's one of the requirement, customer request. Sometimes a specific customer have asked for some specific their requirements are there, you're going to work on that one. So that's a customer request. Technological advances, when you're trying to upgrade any hardware and software, and then that time at that new project can come in the picture, and again new project comes, again where you need to work on a project charter. Legal requirement align with the government regulations, like in India, like a GST is coming, and so they like in US visa and all those things, you need to align with all those whenever the legal requirements are there. And social need, so whenever any social need are there, new project can come in the picture, and that time you just go and create a project charter. So that's on a high level on that. One of them, like a project statement of work, is one of the input of this project charter, right? If you see, there's one of the input, which is a project statement of work, which is the SOW we normally call it. And this is normally consist of these things: business need, product scope description, and strategic plan. Have you ever seen a SOW sometime in your real life, or have you seen a SOW?
Yeah, I've seen.
Oh, good. So you'll see, right, on a high level they will give why this what is the requirement actually, right? They will give you some requirement. They will give you some product description and what's the plan. What are the things are needed to do it. So for example, I can see that in IT companies, sometimes they release the SOW. They will give you, this is the projects. These are they're trying to build incident management software, this and this. So they will give you some high level, and then what is the product they are looking at, and what's the plan, like how many resources are needed for that, and when they want to do it. So that's like a strategic plan. So that's like a SOW will consist of it. And when you have that SOW, then a project manager can take the resources or try to deploy the resources on the project and get it work done. We have a next process which is called as a develop project management plan, and this is like the main document, and throughout the project we will be following this project management plan document and to work on that. And it's basically takes all the subsidiary project management plan from the scope, quality, human, procurement, stakeholder, quality management. All those documents that you get, you just combine, and then finally you have that project management plan. And these are the input you need, like a project charter. Project charter is the one of first process, right? From that, the output we receive the project charter, and that project charter is needed because it will give you like what is the business need, what is the risk and constraint. So all those things that you can get from the project charter. So that's like those are the input. That's why this input is there. Output from other processes, because when you're creating a project management plan, as I said, it is a consist of subsidiary. It is all the subsidiary plans, and when you combine and then it comes with the project management plan. So that's where the output from other processes are needed to basically have this project management plan. Enterprise environmental factors and organization factors. So as I discussed about it, these are two things will be coming. And here in the enterprise environmental factors, when you're creating a project management plan, you have to consider what are the external factors that can affect your project. As I said, like the construction projects are there. You need to think about the legal things. You need to take in consideration. And if you're working on the pharmaceutical, so like again, the government regulations are there, needs to be followed very carefully, and where it can affect your things. Organizational factors can also affect your project, so that needs to be considered when you're planning your projects. And go for expert judgment and facilitation technique. So again, when you're creating this plan, tools and technique is very simple. You have a take subject matter expert, or have some meeting or facilitation technique and understand those things. And finally, you'll have a project management plan. So that's the output that you'll get it. Maybe I can show you this on high level.
Sorry to interrupt. On the expert judgment you mentioned, right? So that means that technical people's opinion, right? Probably the timelines of each component to be developed. Am I right?
So it is like a team lead, right? Mostly team lead or subject matter expert, they give you opinion, right? What will be the time required to do it? You don't go much detail, because when you go to the schedule management or cost management, you go to the much detailed way. But on a high level, they can tell you, right? This is like 1 month or 2 months or 3 weeks. That's what's required, right? Okay. So that's the reason. Because
they don't do at this stage, right?
In the software, normally when you're creating a project management plan, project manager go and take the opinion. He can't write his own this thing will take 1 month or 2 months. He takes opinion, right? Normally I don't know whether you face it, but normally he takes the opinion from this his team lead. Normally, not from every team member. Normally it takes opinion from functional lead or team lead or BA lead. Hey, what do you think about it? How much time it will take to go ahead with that, right? Yeah. If they don't have a team, they will take with their relationship, or they will try to go for outside in the market and get understand, because that's where when you're creating a plan, you should have this when to start, when to complete, at what phases, what things need to be completed. So all those things will be there in the project management plan. Okay, so then this is one of the, I will show you one of the documents just on high level on the project management plan. This is not, I can say, the full-proof document. This is how the project management plan looks like. As every company have their own template and best way to represent their data. Only main intention, I'm trying to cover what are the things the project management plan should consist of it. And you can give this, what are the assumptions, what is the work breakdown, structure, deployment plan, schedule management. It consists of the scope management, schedule management, and quality management, cost management. So this is actually the project management plan document, okay? And each and everything you specify those points, like what is the work breakdown structure size, schedule time management. Maybe you can create a separate document and put the reference or put the link of that. So normally that is what the best way to do it. Not everything put it in the same document. You just create a schedule management plan and put it the reference. Please, this is a link and please refer that one. So that is how it works actually. Project schedule, quality management plan, human resource plan, how you can get a resources throughout the project. What's the communication management plan? Very important. Throughout the project, what are the different communication techniques you're going to use for communicating within a team or stakeholder and all those things. So it is basically considered, if you see this is considered of everything, right? It's considered of the processor from all the knowledge area. So this is what actually the project management plan. Good. So just come to this topic. Okay, so this is one of the, I can say, Deming cycle in PM process is PDCA. Is normally they ask what is a PDCA or Deming cycle. Is actually one of the concept or it has been introduced and by one of the scientists, Edward Deming was there. If I exactly remember his name, who have basically proposed this concept. What he's trying to say that if anything, if you want to improve any process, so this is the, process they have to go with the plan, do, check and act. You need to plan that activities and then according to that you need to do those things. Then you validate those things and everything is good. You see that, okay, I think it is meeting or it's okay with that. Then you implement it. You just go ahead implement throughout it. And after implementation, then you just close it. So this is called as a PDCA, and in the exam sometimes they ask you what is a Deming cycle. You just remember PDCA is called as Deming cycle, plan, do, check and act. Okay, if sometime what happened in the real world, there is already new existing process are there, and the project manager want to improve this process. Okay. So they may, they have some few concepts. So what they will do, they try to plan those things and try to implement and see with this, by implementing this thing, is this been improving or not? Or performance, initially it was been taking much time to complete those activities. Now it's been reduced or not? Or are you saving some time and are you saving some money or not? So once you just see that, okay, performance good, then overall you implement it. So it is like, this is one of the, the process which has been used to, improve any processes. And normally it has been used most of the time in the product-oriented process very rigorously. Okay, they have a lot of processes and where they want to improve their processes at that moment of time, they use this thing, PDCA. Direct and managed project is one of the next process, and which is like this is part of the execution. We talk about develop project charter, which is initiation. We talk about project management plan, which is a planning. We are going to discuss about direct and managed project, which is execution. When the project management plan is ready, you are going to work according to the project management plan during the execution phase, and this is the direct and managed project work process there. To lead and perform the work defined in the project management plan, and if any, during executions, to go and monitor it, and if you see any changes, you recommend, and that's part of the change request. So we're going to talk about in the monitoring and controlling how the change request comes in the picture. So the input will be there. If you see this, most of the time you find that next process will have an input from the previous process, most of the time, okay? But it is not like a standard. It's just like you'll find, because this is the next step is there. So that's why you find that in previous process you get a project management plan, right? Project management plan was an output from the double project management plan process. So you need a plan to start the next activity. So that's why you have an input. Approved change request. What are the changes that you want to do that has been approved that you will work on during executions? Again, enterprise environmental factors and organization processes needs to be considered. When doing execution itself, there's a lot of external factors that can affect your projects, which any government regulation, any policy that can come in the picture, which can affect your project, that needs to be planned and considered. You are working on a project, and suddenly this government come with the new taxes, and now you have to plan it and you have to implement it. You have to consider those things that can affect it. So organization process asset, again, some guidelines, some policies that need to be considered, and tools and technique, expert judgment, and then project management, information system, and meetings, and that are tools and techniques that you will apply on those things, and to see how the work is there. And the output will be there, deliverables. After the execution process, means after work is done, you have some output, some deliverables that has been completed, has been fully 100% completed is not important. Then some output is there. That comparison of whether it's been done or not, that you will do during a monitoring and controlling. So that's where you will validate the scope. You will going to control the scope and check your quality of that deliverable. So that you will do as part of the monitoring and controlling. But as part of this execution, you have some deliverables, and that deliverables or raw observation is also called as a work performance data. So we have been discussing about it. And the change request will also be there, like when you have some deliverables where you don't find the way it has to be there, some changes needs to be done. During a testing phase, you realize it's not been, there's some defect, something is there. You recommend new changes or you fix the existing one. Project management plan update, you will be updating your plan. This is like a project management plan update is like I can say that's iterative process, means everywhere when there is a changes comes, you have to update your plan, okay, to make sure that it is up to date. Whatever the plan you have 6 months earlier, maybe that's outdated. You maybe a lot of activities there, the timeline had been changed. So you keep on updating the project management plan. You'll be updating your project document updates, like requirements keep on changing. So you'll be updating your project document updates also. So these are the output that you will get from the direct and managed project work. And good. So this is the logical flow. If you remember in the last chapter, we talk about how this normally the project goes in, during this integration management. You create a project charter, you give it to the project manager, he create a plan, and based on the plan go on a direct and managed project, have a deliverables, some observations, some measurements, go with the control process. You will have a work performance information. One thing you remember it, whenever during a monitoring and controlling, whenever there is any control process are there, whenever any control process, you will find the work performance data as an input and work performance information is an output. This is input, this is an output. And this is your, I can say, tools and technique. This is a process where different tools and technique will apply it. So you'll see during a training, you'll find any control scope. When we're going to discuss about a control scope, you'll find one of the input will be work performance data and one of the output will be work performance information. So when you have that work performance information, like a status of the deliverables, 5% done, 10% done, and it goes to the overall project activities, then you monitor on overall project, how is this project is there, is in be ahead of schedule or behind the schedule or any challenges, or do you need more resources to get it done. And so that's like a monitor and control project. And then after everything looks good, then you close it. Otherwise, here again changes comes here. You may update your project management plan, or if any defect repair is there, defect needs to be fixed, so you'll go and this direct management project work. And again, it's like execution phase. You fix it and again deliver it. So this is, I can say, the logical flow of the project. We talk about like a difference between work performance data.
I have some questions.
Please.
With respect to the actual project.
Mm-hmm.
Direct and managed project work, right? So normally, as a developer, we'll give the how much, what is the estimated time of arrival of the task allocated, or when it can be done, or whether it's been done or not, what is the test cases have been passed. All these things will give to the project manager, right? So that is the input. That is the WPD, right?
Hold on. So you're saying that this is time required to complete these activities?
Yeah, the project manager will ask, right, how much time you need to take this task.
Okay, so I understand. So at the starting, project manager is going to ask when you're creating a plan, right? During schedule management itself, he's going to ask, right, how much time required when you do the work breakdown structure for these activities, how much time required? He'll say 1 week needed, right? So we'll allocate 1 week. But during execution happen, let me clear that. During execution, and now 1 week over, project manager, what is the status? So it's been done, or like no, I think we are just able to finish 60% or 70%. So I think we need 2 more days. Now he'll have to update his project plan again. So again, he have to update your project management plan. So work performance data is like what deliverables he have done it. So it's just like in this 1 week he's supposed to complete 10 activities, and he just completed 5 activities. So that is the 5 activities are still pending. So work performance data is just completed 5 activities. He maybe just created 1 form, 1 website or a small form. That is the deliverables. That is actual deliverables. That's called the work performance data. Okay, because that's the deliverables. This is when I say the deliverables or some raw observation. Maybe I can say when 10 activities or there 5 things has been completed. So that's. But how much time is needed now? That's like you are going for a schedule. You say, hey, I needed 2 more days to complete those things. So again, those to update, you are going to update your project management plan as part of that. So actual deliverables called the work performance data. Is this clear?
Okay, so actual work done goes to the WPD, and then, for example, instead of
or maybe 5 days, you spend 7 days, right? So that's a WPD. Like you spend 7 days, but how much time is needed? That's a different thing.
Yeah. So for example, the rest of the 5 tasks will be completed by another 2 weeks. So where that goes, I mean, WPD or WPI?
Okay, so now you require 2 more days. You said, okay, you require 2 more days, then it goes to the control process and it comes to the part of work performance information, because you said, hey, I needed 2 more days to complete it. So it's like you have we can say you're comparing with the control schedule. Okay, so that will become your work performance information. But how much time you actually spend it, that will be your work performance data.
All right.
And once you have work performance information, and then you update here, you update your project management plan according to that.
Okay, right, got it. So, okay, fine. What are the completed? I enter in the WPD. What needs to be done in the WPI?
And once you see that, now based on that, on overall project level you monitor it, and you say, now is the project is got delayed, right? You were supposed to complete in 7 days. Now you are asking 7 more days again. So it's like this activities. So on a project level, on high level project level, you see this activities can affect my projects, or this activities now is actually got delayed. So these things that will become when you create that report or chart, diagram or something for presentation purpose to your stakeholder, and that's called as a work performance report. And work performance report is nothing but it comes to data from work performance information itself. Whatever you get the data, and based on that you create your reports. Right?
Okay, I got it.
Good. Yeah. So we are discussing about this thing, and work performance data is like any raw observation before analyzing it, and once it has been analyzed, become work performance information. Work performance report is compilation of work performance information. On a high level, you understand those things. Now, once you have after delivery is done, and then it goes to the control process, and then monitor and control project work is part of your monitoring and controlling process group. Okay, where you basically track, review, and report the progress. What are the input will be there? Schedule management there, schedule forecast. How much time you need now next, and if you see this, monitor control work, your work performance information, right? This is an input here, right? So in the work performance information, you can forecast it, right? I need 2 more days. I need this much money. I need this much resources. So that's why you will need to have a schedule forecast, cost forecast, and validated changes. if any, during a control process, if you see this diagram, this comes from the control process. So there will be some validated changes. Some validated changes will be there, which you want to monitor and control project work, and which you want to consider it. Work performance information is definitely is input. By diagram itself, you can understand this is the input to this. And the enterprise environmental factors and organizational processes, again, these are the two things which is on an overall perspective, consider like how this external factors affect, or within organization, what policy guidelines you should look at when you're monitoring it. The tools and techniques, expert judgment, use some analytical techniques, do some analytical techniques, and see is this mean RU project is ahead or behind the schedule, or something needs to be taken care of it. Use some project management information system, some MS Office or something to track it, or maybe use some your dashboard to track your activities of the resources, so that based on that you can generate a report. It will help you. Have a regular meeting with the team to get a status of the work and projects. That's another way to get the status and to review the progress of the project. And the output will have a change request. Means if everything is good, accepted. If something is something has not been done the way it's supposed to be done, or new changes need to be asked, or you given to this project, to your customer, and maybe for validation purpose, he may ask, no, this is not something I was looking, maybe I need something else, some more things. So that can be the change request. And whenever you get a change request, it has to go with this perform integrated change control. Whenever it is a new requirement, that has to go with the perform integrated change control. Whenever any bug fixes, there's no need to go with the change control. You have to fix it, because that's within the scope. That has to be fixed. But new changes needs to be gone for integrated change control, which we're going to discuss in the coming slide. Monitoring control will give you the work performance report, that's the WP reports, and project management plan. You'll be updating your documents and based on what status you receive with the project. If any activities have been completed, you just make it completed, you pass it. So you'll be updating a plan. You'll be updating a project documents, and based on that, if a requirement has been completed, you say this has been closed or this has been completed. So these things you will be updating a project document. So this is a part of your control, monitoring control project process, project work. Now next one, this is from this chapter, this is a very important topic, and perform integrated change control, because they ask one or two questions from this. Sometimes students get confused what has to go with the perform integrated change control. One of the basic, I think you can say theory, or maybe things that you should remember it. Anything, any new changes, small changes, big changes, anything that new requirement, something has been asked in the project, it has to go with the perform integrated change control. They will decide it whether they will take it this thing in new requirement in the project, or they should not take it. Sometimes that requirement doesn't take time itself. That's okay. Even the 1 or 2 hours. But developers should not accept that changes. It is who will be working. So it is it has to go with the change control, and they will decide it whether they want to consider as part of this or not. And sometimes they give you scenarios where they're trying to give you real time in project where some customer comes with a new requirement, you go and accept it and do the changes. That is how it should not work it as per the standard way. Doing it, all those things are different, but it has to go with that change control board. To review all the changes, approve a change request, and managing the changes of developers, organization process, affairs, project document, and project management plan. The input, you will have a project management plan that you get from the previous process, where you have a project management plan which give you the all the things that you want to execute throughout the project. So, and it has all the change, the requirement. It has a change request. What are the approved change requests are there? Work performance report, and based on the status of the projects, you may take some decision. So you must have that input. And if you see the work performance report before closing, before monitor controlling, here you have, after monitor controlling, you have a perform integrated change control, and that perform integrated change control have a work performance report. And before close project, we have an integrated change control. Okay, so 1 second. Okay. Enterprise environmental factors and organization process asset, these are the two things obviously important when you are going for change control, because if something has been asked from the government authority, then you have to accept, like you can't have a way to deny it. No, I will not do it, this part of the project. If something has to be implemented immediately. So these things can affect your decision, so that's why this is an important process. And tools and technique, expert judgment, meetings, control change tools, and you'll apply as part of this. And then output, finally you have approved change request. If anything has been approved, that has been taken. If it is rejected, you just ignore it. Means you just put in the rejected, you just document somewhere, but that doesn't go to the project team. So it just been rejected, those changes. If any changes, approved change request, it has to go to this. According to that, you need to update your project management plan, and it goes to the execution phase. Change log will be with change log.
One question.
Yep.
One question I have. WPA, based on WPA, work package reports will be analyzed, right? I mean, it will come out charts, all these things, right? For example, some tasks is getting delayed 1 month. So obviously that cost is going to escalate and timelines are going to escalate, right? So based on the project manager, will try to put additional resource and try to compensate for the time, or if the cost allows, right? So I know until this much chain I know. So I mean, now
the thing is there.
If I link to the PMP, how based on WPR reports, who will give the feedback to the? I mean, how the looping, where the loop will come and joins in the picture.
Okay, so now when it's this perform integrated change control, basically this process done by the change control board. The change control board is nothing but a people from the business sponsor who's requesting a change. Project team members, maybe team lead, or project manager, or functional lead. So these are the few people, and will be there, and the business sponsor will sponsoring the project. So basically these are the people who will be there, and this normally on bigger picture they will have a weekly basis change control, or the monthly is too long duration. Normally they do it on weekly basis. They have this meeting on regular interval to see what are the latest changes are there. Now, to have this meeting, they should have some status report, right? What is the status health of the project? Is this ahead of schedule? If it is ahead of schedule, or the cost is being spent less. So if any new changes are there, it's very easy to take a decision. I think we can take it, because I think we are good in the good shape. So that's why the work performance report is helping them as to take a decision. Okay. Now, if it is a behind the schedule, you are already struggling, and new changes you're asking, obviously you will go for no, or maybe you will go for business sponsor, or hey, I need more money, because otherwise you change the date, go live date, or give me more money, more resources to do this activity. Though that discussion happened during this change control board meeting. That is where they decided, okay, whether, and based on the discussion, whatever was agreed, and they will decide it. They will approve those changes to take it, or they will reject it. Okay. So at that's why this work performance report plays an important role. It gives you the health of the project during this meeting. Is this clear?
Okay, yeah, I got it. Basically, this integrated change control will approve or disapprove those decisions.
Yes, this is a process. This is a process. But who approve it? Change control board. There is a change control board, a group of people from the project team member, high level. So like a project manager, team lead. Not everybody will be there. Not like a, I can say, developer. And they are not being a part of the change control. It's just on a high, those stakeholders will be there.
PICC will takes care of it, right?
Yep.
Okay. I understand.
Tell me. Any questions?
No.
Good.
So
Okay.
I'm
So,
saying that in
yeah,
reality,
tell me.
as employees, we receive the salary from the HR department, right? So, for example, the Claims Control Board doesn't approve the extra 1 month timelines. So, where will the money will come from?
Okay. So, by the way, when you in IT industry, how it works, one is altogether when you take a resources, even the internal resources, there is some billings are there that has to be given. This is like a cost of the senior resources. This is a cost of, and that amount get deducted from the project itself, and that amount go to the this overall organization payroll department. Okay, this is the amount. So you don't know, you are not aware, but actually anything that spent on the project, it has to be deducted. So if they are internal resources itself, there is a rate is there. Like if you see then the IT companies like where they will be charging to the customers maybe I can see on-site $100 okay per hour. So they get they are getting from the customer, but this is the on a project basis they get some revenue, right? 5 resources are working for 5 months, so they get something like 100K for example. Okay, now 100K, this is the project revenue, but from the project who is going to give the salary? That it has some deduction to the payroll from 100K, maybe 20K or 30K go to the payroll department, or 40K. That okay, this is part of this salary, or then some of the part go to the infrastructure for their laptops and software and all those things. Some of the things will go for on a higher level. So different the what is the cost center has been created, and those they take the money from there. Okay, they take the money. So that is where the HR, if you extend for one month, so business sponsor has to give the money. They have to give the budget. Hey, I have again 50K. You take it, and now the resources okay, right? I get a 50K. I will give you the my HR, this what you can say finance department. This is the amount I will give as part of the salary. So who will be working in? They have to get the revenue comes from the project. So all the department that get revenue from there itself, okay, and there will be some percentage, some sort of that. What has been, which one has to go?
In product organization like Intel, how does it work? Basically,
so in the product organization, you don't have this things like this part. You develop one product. So here maybe whatever the organization units are there, you have some product organization units are there. So on higher level organization allocate some budget to them. Okay, this is a budget I'm allocating for this project to do it. So you deduct it. So but it is internally happen. It doesn't come the finance team takes the money. It is just like this is a product oriented. You are building some product, but when you are building on, you are going to work on a project, but your CIO have to give some budget, right? They have to allocate some budget, right? This is for this project. I have to have this money. You can't work any product, developing products.
Yeah. For example, I worked on actually 4 projects in Intel. So how does it? So my salary comes from which project? So all combined together, I'll get salary.
This is at the organization level. That is our organization level. Salaries comes from your organization level, right? Organizations, when you based on how much time you're spending them, they will be internally taking the money from your projects. How much time you're spending it. Okay. So sometimes in some time they ignore. They are okay with that. Sometimes if it is internally, it's just like they had the dedicated resources and you just work on multiple stuffs to those things. But they on a higher level organization give you this. This is a finance. This is a payroll department. Have this much budget or to run the payroll. But overall, they generate internally they give you the let's take an example in the organization. You go for laptop. Sometime one project says, hey, we can't give you the laptop because use your desktop. Because if they go for laptop, infrastructure team, they generate invoice to the project. Hey, this laptop is being issued to this resources and for this duration, and this is the cost which is coming. Please, give this in money. So they will take from that project itself. So this how the organizational structures are there, how their their organizational structure and payrolls are there. That's different. The way they internally handle it. But any project that you want to do it, there will be some allocation of some budget will be there. It is just not a human resources. Because if you go to get some external resources or some, how do you get that resource from market? You have some budget should be there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so perform integrated change controls. We are talking about like these are the output you get: approve change request, change log, and the project management plan update. You will be updating on project documents. Good. So we'll talk about configuration management, and configuration management is like I can say the part of integrated change control, and where sometime, for example, you are doing any changes. If you are doing any changes related to the configuration of the product, it has to be managed with the configuration management. Let's take an example. You are working on a project where to build a car, okay, and for building a car, there will be some specifications will be there, right? Or maybe you are building some one smartphone. So there is a specification like you need a 5 GB RAM, this much processor, this much this thing. So for each and every those things, you have some identification. You are going to, and there is also if somebody asks for new changes, there is already 2 GB RAM, and maybe the customer requested, I think 2 GB RAM will be less. Why not just increase to the 4 GB RAM? Can't you accept that changes immediately? No, you have to see the compatibility. Can this 2 GB RAM, this right now the design architecture which I have it is just supporting 2 GB. If he is asking 4 GB, can he support to the other architecture? So you do some like compatibility analysis, and all those things has to be managed with the configuration management, right? It has to be like you have to identify each and every the configuration items, because normally if you see on a product, there is a product specifications are there. So when you're developing such products, so you have those configuration items, and then when any changes are coming in any items, so it is called as you can easily identify. So you give that's why the configuration management activity consists of identifying configuration items, status accounting, and verification and audits. So it actually help you which item needs to be changed. So customer can say maybe 2 GB RAM needs to be, so you can easily identify, okay, this is item needs to be changed, and they are asking for 2 GB to 4 GB. Okay, now you are going to check what is the how much is compatible to the other processes. So overall, this activity when you do, this comes as part of the configuration management. Okay, and this is very important during integrated change control, because I can't take decision immediately. Somebody says 2 GB, yeah, accepted. No. It has to go with this process, because if it is not compatible and I approve the changes, it doesn't work, right? So that's why this in configuration management, link with this integrated change control whenever there is a change in the configuration of the product, and it consists of basically 3 items: identifying configuration items, status accounting, and verification and audit. So where you verify those things after doing a changes, is everything well and good or not, and you create some for managing this configuration document. So you create some configuration document, some WordPad document, and you have all those things, and you create different versions, different logs there if any new changes are there as a separate document, not as part of the project management.
This is about this what is called the configuration clear case sort of issue. I mean, clear case sort of things, right? I mean, how the source code is going to get controlled, which version, weekly deliverables, or weekly regression testing, all these things, right?
Yeah, that's in the IT perspective. Yeah, so you have those different versions are there. Yeah, so that's another way.
Other audiences are in IT or non-IT background, and so that we can have a common example.
Most of them is IT background. Surya, you're from IT background, right?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Perfect. Good.
So in this case, shall we say that we can take the configuration management to the clear case, and then what actually how in the real world it's more of what you explained is more of top level abstract. There is a change of valid opportunity to validate impact of change and its impact. Can you just give some one example how its example?
Okay, so let's take a or motherboard, right? Some circuit is there, okay, motherboard circuit. This is one of them where there's a lot of items are there, right? And in that case, maybe when you're building that product, so when new changes, somebody is asking to change this, this circuit or this chip from this to this, and then again, it has to be when you have that, when you're building that product. First of all, you have the product specification or configuration document should be there for that product. And now, whenever the new changes is coming, you just identify which item you want to change, and then suppose they are asking to change the chip, and then you may going to change the you'll decide, okay, from this to this they are asking a request to do the changes. So you'll basically do, before doing a changes, you're going to verify whether we can, if I do the changes, is being compatible to other items which is there in the motherboard, is it going to support or not? So, and if it is going to support, perfect, then you go ahead and accept those things and you document it. You're changing this thing from this to this thing as part of the configuration log. There will be log will be there. So, and when you do all those things, this overall activity is called as configuration management. This overall process is called as configuration management. The configuration management is actually process.
This is not change control. Change request. This is not change request.
This is a change, right? Configuration management is linked with the integrated change control. Integrated change control, at the end, what you will get is the change request, right? It's a new change. So when you are requesting anything needs to be changed, it's a change, right? You accept the change request. But it has to be managed different way. I can't, if somebody asks to do the changes in my configuration, I will not say, yeah, I will do that. Okay. That's not like, it's not about money. It's not about, okay, I assign more resources and have a time. I have to see the compatibility also, whether in this overall specification, is this change can be accepted or not accepted. You get my point?
Got it.
If my chip is just supporting it, only this motherboard is supporting this chip, I can't add one more chip because it doesn't support it there itself.
Okay, so basically, output of configuration management is yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
And have some, you decide final changes. Yes, yeah, go ahead with these changes, and then you decide, and then you go to the execution process group. You do the changes and proceed further. Close project or phase, and to finalize all the activities to formally complete the project or project phase. This will be the input and project management plan that will give you then on what basis you are going to accept the deliverables. Finally accepted deliverables will be there. You will have organization process asset and expert judgment, analytical techniques and meeting that you will apply as part of this. And this is just like a simple take your opinions from the team and say, is this been done fully or something needs to be missed, or so sometime meeting should happen, retrospective, or maybe sometime postmortem report, those things happen, and then final output will be final product, service or result, whatever you're building it, and you'll be updating your lesson learned document throughout the project as part of this process. So whether it's what has been gone, good, bad, or so, and then final, to use a training document or all those things that you will be updating as part of this organization process of it update. And every organization have this repository where they have those details, so the next project can get a benefit out of this project. Because if similar projects are going in future, so they can refer those project data, and they can get benefit out of it. Yep, really important. Good. So, sorry?
What is automation process assets updates? This is a document you mentioned?
Yes, a document. It's just like a lesson learned, whatever the assets is there. Like you have some guidelines during a project. maybe new things come in the picture, new process you have introduced. Maybe you will just update that new process, some new guidelines you will be updating, or whatever the lesson learned that you will be updating, or existing project document you will be updating. So it's like organization process asset. It's a repository where you are updating those documents. Okay. 3 documents are there. You will have for this project. There is a few more documents you will update as part of repository, so that future it can be used. And sometimes it is important for the audit purpose also, because when audit happens, you have those data. Good. So let's go with the summary on on a high level. We talk about this processes, develop project charter. We talk about project management plan, and we talk about the Deming cycle PDCA, which is used for the improving any processes. Direct management part of the execution process group. We talk about the flow diagram, differences between WPD, WPI, WPI informations, monitor and control work, which is monitor the report, the success of the progress of the project. So perform integrated change control, where basically any change that needs to be done, it has to go with this change control board for going for yes or no. Configuration is part of the integrated change control, but if anything related to the configuration of the product, if any changes comes in the picture, so that time this configuration management comes. Close project, you finally close your projects, and final you'll have lesson learned, all those things will be ready, and you'll update your database. Good. So let's have your turn, and let's go through these questions. Very important. Read the question very carefully. Okay. So the project management plan is complete and ready to be baseline. However, key stakeholders just discover a critical omission and request an adjustment to the project management plan. What should you do as a next project manager? What should you do as a project manager? They're asking. Read the question. Project management plan is complete and ready to be baseline. What does mean by the baseline? What do you understand from the baseline? Ready to be baseline.
I mean,
it's about to be finalized. Ready to be? It's about to be finalized. Yes. It's complete is about to be finalized. Means still is not be ready. The word itself, it has a meaning. Means final is not means it's about to finalize. However, at that moment of time, one of the stakeholders just discovered the critical omission and requested some adjustment to the project management plan. At that moment in time, he is requesting, I think, some changes we want to do it. And, what should you do as a project manager? Tell me. Implement formal CR. CR is a change request. Make adjustment. Consult change control board. Inform the stakeholder that this constitutes a scope creep and refuse to make a changes.
Go to change control.
Option A.
Sorry?
Go to change control board.
Inform to the consult the change control board or inform the stakeholder. Which one you say?
Well, I said consult the change control board.
Perfect. And Ghazla, if I'm wrong, so what's your answer on this? Read the question very carefully. This is a very twisted answer.
Well, it also depends if the critical omission was a task which was part of the project management, or it was a requirement that's missing in the scope. It doesn't say. The question doesn't say which one it is. It's a critical omission of a task or a scope requirement.
Okay, so what's the answer? Which one is this? Is this a make adjustment or implement a formal CR? Which one, or consult change control?
Implement a formal CR. So obviously CR has to.
No, we'll come to that. We'll come to that one by one. Okay, so you're saying implement formal CR. Okay, yeah. So what is your answer? Okay, so let's go to that. None of taking the right answer means you're not able to get that. Let's go through the question carefully and understand. Okay, first of all, implement formal CR. Let's understand why this answer is wrong. Okay, it is asking for change change request, formal change request, right? So the first line of the statement itself, project plan is complete and ready to be baseline. When I say the ready to be baseline, ready to be finalized, it's not been finalized it. They are in the planning process group, it's not been finalized. Change request comes after the execution, right? You do the execution, you do the monitoring, at that moment of time the changes come, right?
Right.
Okay.
So there is no change request, right? You're not asking, you're in the phase of the finalizing the plan. You're in the planning phase, right? You are about to finalize it. You have not done it. This word itself, I tell you, is very important. So the implements here is at all is not important. It's not a right, because that's not in the, we are not in the execution phase. Consult change control board. Since there is no CR, why should I consult the change control? Because my plan is still not finalized. We are working on the planning phase right now itself. Inform stakeholder that this constitutes the scope creep. You were saying that discover critical omission and so there is some important things needs to be taken care of it. So you're directly informing that though no, will not take these changes. But there is a here he's talking about like this is a important thing needs to be considered and it's not been finalized. So if you make an adjustment, you have to do the adjustment. Then adjustment is you have to do with the time or schedule or cost or increase or decrease, whatever. You have to do the adjustment at that moment of time because you have not finalized right now. Once the project is finalized, once enter into the execution phase, at that moment of time, after the execution, you come up the new changes, then consult the change control board or have a discussion, go with the integrated change control. That picture comes in the mind. Here, he is the best fit to this answer. That's why this is a very important word. Ready to be baseline. Okay, so please, that's why I'm going. Question needs to be read carefully and don't make a quick decision. Okay, don't make a quick decision. Does this answer your question? Do you understand why the make adjustment is the right answer? Yeah. And you have to go for the best answer. Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, which of the following is not included in the project charter? We talk about it. Business case. It has to be there in the project charter. Budget. It has to give some budget. It has to have some risk constraint and constraint, right?
Yeah.
Resource management plan. You don't know how many resources are needed because you don't have a plan, right?
Yeah.
So resource management comes from the planning process group, but his project charter comes from the initiating process group. So this doesn't fit, right? Is this clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's enter this one. Your project team is well underway with the construction of the product of the project, and some of the work has progressed. Okay. Some deliverables have been reviewed by the stakeholder. Since you are in the execution phase or you are in the monitoring there. Okay. During a deliverables review, one of the stakeholders found discrepancy in one of the deliverables that needed to be addressed immediately. He found some discrepancy. It doesn't ask for change request. Means something is supposed to be done, but it's not been done the way it has to be. Means something is missing as per the requirement. Is this clear? Like a discrepancy in the one of the deliverables. So this word is important. So there is some bug is there, or maybe the team reviewed the stakeholder issue, agreed that some action needed to be taken to bring the deliverables back to the compliance. Best definition for this activity is called a defect repair, corrective action, quality control, or preventive action.
So
what is that?
The difference between defect repair and corrective action?
Defect repair is like you'll fix that issue. Issues happen, you'll fix that issues. Okay. Corrective action is like to avoid any issues happen, in the future, and you take some corrective measures. Okay, so that should not happen in the future. Okay, so correct that type of the the corrective action, that will be basically the corrective action.
So in this case,
so it is
like a defect repair?
Yes, defect repair, because you have to repair that defect because it doesn't meet with the requirement. Something was there in the requirement and there were discrepancies. Means something does not been done, they're supposed to be done. So you have to fix it. It's a defect repair. Okay.
Yeah, it's a defect repair.
Yeah. Which of the following is not true about the project charter? This should be the straightforward.
The next one I believe is A. Project charter is written by the project manager.
Okay. What about others?
I mean, others B, C, D, and are true about project charter, and I believe A is not always the case. It's sometimes written by the project sponsors and from the business users. No?
Yeah, that's correct. Option A is correct.
Option A is correct. Yes. Option A is the correct answer. Good. Thank you. So that's good. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions?